How many ways are there to perform a flat, raw bench press? Let me count the ways. 1. Touch and go. 2. Paused. 3. Sink and pause. 4. Big arched back bench. 5. Head off the bench. 6. Wide grip. 7. Close grip. 8. Feet far behind the knees. 9. Feet perpendicular to the floor. 10. Slow and controlled to the chest. 11. Fast fall to the chest. 12. Tucking the elbows aggressively. 13. Flaring the elbows aggressively. 14. Almost locking out but not locking out. 15. Spoto presses. 16. Lots of leg drive. 17. Little leg drive like feet on the bench or legs straight on the bench. 18. With a handoff. 19. Without a handoff. 20. Butt off the bench. 21. Butt on the bench. Of course, you can mix and match and combine different methods and positions to come up with your own technique, but chances are you do at least 3 or 4 of the things listed above in your strongest bench style. This brings me to the discussion of this video. How deep is your strength? How refined is your technique? How consistent are you with your current technique of the bench press? I'm actually curious to know if you, the viewer watching this video or reading this article, thinks about stuff like this. When you lift weights, what do you think about? When you bench press, what is on your mind? A few months ago, I set a big goal to accomplish a 405-pound bench. 400-pound bench. 405, because that's 4 plates on each side here in America. Within the next 27 months, or by the end of 2016. In my mind, this is a lofty goal. During this process of building strength week after week, month after month, I'm thinking about how I'm going to accomplish this. In the next 27 months, I can see myself accomplishing this goal if I gain enough weight. However, I'm not sure if that's going to be the primary method by which I will get there. For the sake of discussion, let's assume a 198-pound weight class, or 90 kilograms, with a height of approximately 5 foot 7 inches tall to 6 foot 1 inches tall. That way we have a good reference point to talk about as I talk about the bench press. How does someone with these parameters accomplish a 400-pound bench press? What does it look like, and how many years of experience does that person have in bench pressing? Now, of course, you don't have to be if you don't compete in 190 kilograms or you're not within the height that I specified. Just kind of apply the concepts I explain or ideas that I have based on your situation. But as I talk, I want to kind of keep it a little bit more concise. That way things sort of make sense. For many out there, I'm sure that it's easier. It's easier. I mean, there's people out there that have a better bench press build because of relative limb lengths. People have varying limb length as far as arms and legs and positioning, flexibilities with the low back, or flexibilities with the upper back in order to have a bigger arch. Body fat compositions vary as well as also different injury circumstances. So I got a comment the other day, and it was from Beast Mode, Marking Bestblood, and there's a comment. You can look at the link if you can't read it. I'll leave a link in the description in case you want to read it, and also a link to that video. And he has some good question. His main question really in the comment was, I cannot get it. You don't even have a stable foundation on how you choose the big 3 exercises. And this is kind of what I think about when I train. I think about trying to refine what it is that I'm doing, trying to figure out what I'm missing. Am I missing a flexibility issue? Am I not pressing with my legs hard enough? Am I not, is my triceps not strong enough? Is my shoulder blades not tight enough? Are my lats not engaged enough? Am I not confident enough? I mean, all these things play into lots of different things, meaning that, there's no exact science when it comes to these things I'm tracking in my head, because I don't really track them. I track numbers and I track reps and I track everything in photocracy, but I don't have I'm just essentially, like, each lift, I think about all the things that I could do better. And that's kind of what I mean by how deep is your strength. How deep is it that your strength for your technique? Because that's the thing that's the hardest part about training and getting better, is that it's your technique, it's your strength, it's no one else's. Sure, you might get some ideas from great lifters like Brendan Lilly, Dan Green, Lutz, Johnny Candido, and Eric Spoto. You see how they set up, and you try to process it, but ultimately you are unique to you. And although they have a lot more experience than they're not working with you one-on-one, and unless they are, you really don't have any choice but to kind of think about what it is you can do to get better. And there's several breakthroughs in my training over the past couple months that has helped me the greatest in the bench press, and that is, I'll explain. Number one is my palm. How deep is my palm in the bar? Making sure my wrist is neutral. That's an obvious part, but actually it's not, because I was focused on keeping my wrist neutral. But the problem with keeping my wrist neutral is if the bar is not set up in my palm correctly, deep enough in the palm where it sits more underneath the wrist, I'm going to create a lever arm, making it difficult to make the lift. Second, I'm not bracing my abs tight enough. That in itself, it takes a lot of practice. Sometimes I don't even have that. Another thing that comes to mind too is how long I pause, because sometimes my pause has this double bounce, and I don't like that. I don't think that's how it's supposed to be. Other things that come to mind too is I get weak at lockout. I mean, I really am getting weak at lockout. So that just tells me that I really need to work on tricep strength, I know, and I just keep ignoring all these things. I'm not working on tricep strength as much as I should. Another thing too is how big my arch is and where my feet are. Sometimes I just can't get the right foot position, and it's almost like every time I bench, it's getting better. My technique is getting better, but the problem I'm having right now is that my feet and my back don't feel like they're in the same spot every single time. And a big part of this is sometimes my condition for the bench changes, like what shirt I'm wearing, what shoes I'm wearing, and kind of what floor I'm on, because they affect everything when it comes to trying to build that 1 rep max strength. So that's what goes through my head. This is what I love. I love this process of building, taking Lego pieces and building this bench press and building this deadlift and building this squat and building my arms and just getting better with technique and position and just growing as a person through use of lifting weights. I want to be able to look back and say, this is where I was. It was difficult for me to get 3 plates on the bench. Took a long time. I grinded and grinded through this spot in my lifting career, or whatever you want to call it, and it was frustrating, but I overcame it, and I was able to get 100 pounds over that 300-pound barrier. And how did I do it? This is what I did, and I want to be able to articulate that. I want to be able to share my frustrations and difficulties, and also kind of how I got there, and to show people that it's possible. So those are my thoughts, sharing some thinking. Check the link in the description for the blog post. I'm not sure if it'll be done by the time this video goes up. And click like if you haven't already. Share your experience with me with the bench press. I want to know, because it's a very slow grind. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.